As we covered in the last episode, Frances Godet was a force to be reckoned with. She led a powerful case through the court systems of late 1800 Louisiana, though she was not the only one doing revolutionary work like this. After the Civil War, there was an ever-growing sentiment of people of color, especially Black people, suing white Southerners. These cases were mostly about property, unpaid wages, damages, and things of that nature. More civil cases rather than criminal ones. One of the works I used to investigate this trend was Black Litigants in the Antebellum American South by Kimberly M. Welch. This book focuses on Black litigation in the American Deep South, specifically Mississippi and Louisiana. Welch uses primary sources like the Natchez District Court records to get a better understanding of what the court systems were like and how Black people in the Deep South in 1800 to 1860 sought justice. It seems like people were doing work like this for themselves, like O'Day was doing for her community. Black people were taking white Southerners to court and winning. To give you a bit of cultural context, at this time, court was very open and public. It was really a public spectacle. This made it possible for pretty much anyone to participate. Instead of watching movies, you went to court hearings. So many Southerners had deep understandings of the inner workings of the court system. This information empowered people of color to fight back. Although it wasn't extremely prominent or widespread, it happened. Black litigation, in particular, happened more than one would think. It's not something you would hear of because of the chaotic time period it happened in. There was a lot going on in the period coming up to the Emancipation Proclamation, following the abolishment of slavery, all the way really up until the end of the Jim Crow era. Not everything can be covered, but also not everyone would want everything to be covered. In the system that we live in, one that favors white people and discourages people of color, I think it can become uncomfortably obvious why we weren't taught this information. Despite this, there are records indicating that Black people in the South were prolific litigators and had the ability to have white litigators fiercely fight for them. I see this in the case of John Mercer Langston. Although this is a trip up north, Langston was an attorney, dean of Howard's Law School, and served as Virginia's first Black Congress member. He was doing some amazing things. And get this, at the same time, Godet was here in New Orleans making moves. I also see Black litigators in Melissa Milwinski's Litigating Across the Color Line, civil cases between Black and white Southerners from the end of slavery to civil rights. Even the first example shows the power of Black litigation in the South. In 1865, Union troops visited Cumberland County, North Carolina. Here, they found the enslaved people who belonged to Henry Bowie. The Union soldiers declared everyone to be free and continued into town, burning weapon stockpiles and declaring others their freedom. Fortunately for one of the new freedmen, Henry Bowie, the Union soldiers left a mule. Henry then claimed this mule as his. He remained on John's land, as many newly freed people did in this time period. John then claimed the mule as his. They went back and forth about it for a time, but it didn't matter because Henry lived on the land. When Henry got ready to move off of the land, however, the situation escalated. Since John claimed ownership of the mule when Henry left, John kept the mule. A government agency set up in the South to empower and protect newly freed people retrieved the mule and gave it back to Henry. Unfortunately, a month later, John filed a claim to regain the mule. John was relentless. Henry eventually got a lawyer too and took John to court over the mule. The lawyer requested that Henry be given ownership of the mule and be compensated $100 for damages. We can see through examples that Black litigators were hard at work, and Black Southerners had white litigators willing to fight on their behalf. They fought for themselves, their loved ones, and their communities, just like Godet.